All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's finally time to start this firebrand chat, this fireside chat that we're about to start. I'd request everyone to please settle down and take your seats. I'd request everybody, please take your seats. With us today, we have a popular celebrity talk show host who's going to take this forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite, with a huge round of applause, can we have Atika Farooqi to please join us on stage? Please give it a huge round of applause. And I'd also like to invite Ms. Jaipuria to please come on stage to welcome our next guest.
So we have here with us for the next session, actor par excellence, and we are very, very happy on behalf of the International Advertising Association India chapter. I'd like to welcome Vidya Balan. Thank you so much for being the voice of change. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Hello everyone, how are you? Say hi. Hi. That's good. We have Vidya Balan on stage, one of the most gregarious, vivacious and strongest women on screen, isn't she? Yes? Say yes. Yes. So I chanced upon this beautiful words I'll read out to you. To the women who are labeled aggressive, I say keep being assertive. To the women who are labeled bossy, I say, keep on leading. To the women who are called difficult, I say, keep telling the truth. To the women who are labeled too much, I say, keep taking up space. To the women who are labeled awkward, I say, keep asking hard questions. And let's all say, let's stop being people pleasers, let's be ourselves, isn't it? The men and women both. Let's stop pleasing the world. Let's just be ourselves. We are talking about the popular media here. The popular media, ranging from a 30-second ad film to a 3-hour-long movie, often feeds us with concepts, feeds us with brackets, ideas of an ideal person, an ideal woman, an ideal girl, a perfect lady, a Naika. And sometimes it's too hard a burden to bear, isn't it? The shoulders start aching because sometimes you don't fit into it and you take a long time and give it a lot of effort to be like that, the person that you cannot be. So let's just give it up and be ourselves. And today we have with us the girl who's been constantly pushing the pink envelope so much that it is being made multicolored with the lovely films that we have seen of Vidya Balan. Vidya Balan! A big round of applause!
Hi, and thank you for that very warm welcome, and thank you for that lovely, inspiring introduction.
Hello.
Hello.
So when she says hello, we're reminded of that film called Tumhari Sulu. You watched it, right? बहुत सालों बाद ऐसा हुआ that we watched a film where a real woman was shown. A real woman was a protagonist in the film. She was the heroine of the film and she portrayed reality as it was. A middle-aged woman in a nuclear family, mother of a child, wanted to have a professional life. And she did a job of an RJ that required her to be in the night shifts. What a story. And when we talk about this entire media putting too much pressure on us, this one film was one film that portrayed woman in the most real form.
Yeah.
From Parinita and those beautiful women of and Kahani and things like that, to this woman who had nothing, no burden, just wanted to be herself. Her partner, her husband says, मुझे लगता है हम दोनों साथ में काम करते हैं. कहते नहीं, partnership अपने को नहीं जमेगा. So totally changed the way we see women on screen.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
You know, what I loved about Sulu and Tumhari Sulu is that I identified with her as an individual. And importantly, I saw in her a reflection of all those women around me that I've grown up with.
my mother, my aunts, my neighbors, women who are homemakers but who have a burning desire, that little dream that they've held close to their hearts and not been able to do much about it, but will grab every little opportunity, whether it's a lemon and spoon race in the child's school or, something else, always participating, a radio contest. Because there is this feeling that, oh, I can do so much more.
Yes.
And, but she had a humor about everything. She had a lovely attitude. And I found that extremely real. Also, that, Suresh Triveni, the writer, director of the film, I think is a fantastic ambassador for men telling women's stories. Because we often talk about how, it's wonderful when a woman tells a woman's story, but I think here is a director who had the sensitivity to just tell it as is.
Yes.
He didn't, I don't think there was a male gaze to it, which we speak about so often. I think it was so wonderful that finally, when she does get an opportunity to do a job, it is that of a late night RJ who's expected to be a seductress, sultry and all of that, and the husband gets threatened by it.
Yeah.
But what I loved also was that the husband was trying his best to support her, trying to overcome his own, his own demons in terms of his fears of what society, how society will judge her and their relationship and his mardangi and all of that. And yet he loves her so much that he doesn't, of course there are conflicts and all, but he's constantly trying to support her through that. He's trying to overcome. I think that's the case with the modern man. I think we've been brought up a certain way, but now there is awareness. So that, you have to be a different kind of man to match up to the new woman. So you're constantly struggling. But there is conditioning. As much as the women are also struggling, because I think we are also conditioned to seeing our men a certain way.
Yeah.
We want the wings to fly. And we are flying, but we're also grappling with the fact that the concept of masculinity is changing. We want our men to be strong, and we want our men to have an opinion, and we want our men to take care of us also. And at the same time, we want to be independent, and we don't want to be told what to do. And all of us, I think, are grappling at this point of time. It is that, so I think the film captured that beautifully.
True. And we were just talking about it, Vidya, the pressure to look beautiful. You were dressed in just simple plain saris. And in an industry where the actresses or the heroines are supposed to act like a certain way, look like so, and laugh like this, you laugh like?
No, that's my laugh. And I have to tell you that at that time, well, I've had, I've always been a heavyweight, but at that time, I think I was going through some major hormonal issues, and it was very tough for me to lose even an inch or a gram. And I decided that, listen, heroes come in all shapes and forms. So I'm not going to now maybe go under the knife or something like that to be a different body. So when any director came to me and said, a lot of directors for about 7 years in between, when I was going through quite a tough time health-wise, would come and say, can you lose some weight for your film? And I would want to tell them, if I could, I would have done it for myself. I wouldn't do it for your film. But finally, I reached a stage where I started telling people, if you want someone of a different body size or shape, I'm not the actor you're looking for. This is how I look, and I can play anything. You want me to play a seductress? In this body, this shape, I can seduce the living daylights out of you. And I think Suresh Triveni got that. Suresh Triveni got that, and he cast me in a role that, in a sari, full-bodied, I was being a seductress on the mic. You just need your voice, yeah. Women don't even need, So it did the job. So I think it was just, at that time, it wasn't an effort, honestly, to portray Sulu like this. But I think it added another layer. It made her look that much more real. And of course, she came from a middle-class family, and she dressed up a certain way that dictated how she carried herself. And I think it's just, I can hardly take credit for any of that. It's really Suresh Triveni.
No, not just Suresh Triveni. Of course, 50% of the credit goes to you as well. Of course, it was a beautiful script, but who else could he have approached? I don't think he had anybody else in mind.
Actually, he wrote it with me in mind.
Exactly, he told me
so
that.
he shared a one-liner with me, and then I said I loved the idea. Of a very protected middle-class housewife suddenly finding her voice, and in this sort of way. So he worked on it, and then we just ended up making the film.
Yeah, but then I don't know if it is the right platform to be saying these words, but I have a very healthy friend circle of men and women, and the men friends once told me, don't think about losing weight, you women. Dogs like bones, men like meat. So don't worry.
It's good that they call themselves dogs. We don't have to. I'm sorry. With due respect to the men in the audience, they're all giving me dirty looks. But I'm sure you can take a joke.
So the heroines they come in all sizes, shapes, and beauties, and it's time to accept
and I think heroes, when you look around us, you travel by the local train in Mumbai. Every second woman is a hero.
Yeah.
Actually, every woman
is a hero.
Some of them have discovered it, some of them haven't.
Yeah.
So I think it's all shapes, sizes, heights, hair color, skin color, language, sexuality.
Acha bas. Aage badhte hain. So just pardon our candor. We know each other for a long time, and sometimes we get into a too casual mode, but sometimes it works. I hope it's working. I hope no offense. Is it supposed to be a very formal conversation? No, right? We can have an informal conversation. Okay. So there was since 80s, let's go back 30 to 40 years. In 80s, we had these beautiful faces like Shabana Azmi, Deepti Nawal, many of those women who were flossom. I heard an interview of yours where there was this word called flossom. Very average, beautiful faces that we saw of women. And then this 90s and 2000s were obsessed with, I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the beauty pageants that had come in. The Miss Indias and the Miss Universes all belonged to us. So we had the concept of beauty, or the definition of beauty, suddenly changed. And we had lots of pageant winners in the movies. And those regular faces, like I find the heroines from down south very beautiful. Jayaprada and Sri Devi and Vaijayanti Mala was so beautiful. I think you remind us of those women, of those beautiful faces. And now we have you. So the definition of sex symbol, or the sexiness on screen, changed with you, Vidya. And to top it all, you added value to it. You are a person who's associated with UNICEF. You're a person, right after winning an award for Dirty Picture, you became the brand ambassador for the Cleanliness Campaign. And you, after doing that ooh la la, she had the guts to say, Jahan soch, wahan shauch. Who would have said that? Which actress would have said that? So you're not just an actress, but you're also a person with a mission, with some associated with multiple causes. What is the package Vidya Balan that is? Tell me. What are the things that you want to change in this world, by virtue of being a person who would be taken seriously at all platforms?
Honestly, I think I'm only trying to better myself on a day-to-day basis. My only mission is me. I'll be very honest with you, but there are things that I feel strongly about. Like when Mr. Jairam Ramesh got in touch with me for the Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan, that was something that called out to me, because I remember around that time, I was in Banaras for an event. It was actually my event was 3 hours away from Banaras in a little village. and there was no loo on the way. And I had to, go into the bushes. So that was a very uncomfortable experience, and I kept thinking, my God, there are women who do this on a daily basis. They have to wake up early in the morning and go and relieve themselves before the world wakes up and all that. And around that time, I got offered this, which is why I just grabbed it, because I just experienced it, and mine was just like a one-time experience, But it made me feel like, yeah, I wish we could put an end to open defecation in the country. And hats off to the campaign, which has been so successful at various levels. There are so many villages that are open defecation free today. Yes. And that is really commendable. And it's the efforts of even the local bodies, people getting involved. I think it's been fantastic. So I didn't even think about, I've done the dirty picture. But I remember the newspapers the next day, after we made the announcement, carried it saying, the dirty girl becomes the clean ambassador, or something like that. So, but yeah, I have no mission to change the world. If at all, it is to constantly work on myself. And
yeah, that's right. So I'll come to gender portrayal. The topic is gender portrayal in various mediums, but I also want to talk about the same topic that you're talking about. We've had Shabana Azmi. She was associated with AIDS awareness. We have Mr. Bachchan, who's associated with polio campaign. We saw a film called Toilet Ek Prem Katha. You probably got associated with this campaign in 2012 or 13? And we've recently had a film called Toilet Ek Prem Katha, where they openly talked about the problem of open defecation and toilets for women. In a way, do you see it as you being an agent of change? Maybe you sped up the process of change, isn't it?
No, one of my favorite quotes is that you must be the change you want to see in the world. And I'll keep harping on that. So it's not my responsibility, or, I couldn't dare to change anyone else or bring about change in the world. But I can do my little bit to change myself or my environment when I feel strongly about something. And so I think all of us are change agents. It's just that we exercise it sometimes, and most times we don't. But I think I feel that if I can leverage, my stardom or popularity or whatever it is, to drive home a message. And if it even impacts like one or two people, I'd be very grateful.
But do you meet women from villages or just any walk of life walking up to you and saying that, आपने लाइफ बदल दी, आपकी फिल्मों ने लाइफ बदल दी, सोचने का नजरिया बदल दिया?
Not exactly in that sense, but I think, especially soon after, I remember the first 2 years of the campaign, when some of the states were, I remember there was a certain, I'm not going to, mention wrong facts, but there was a set of 100 villages that were declared open defecation free. And I'd gone for the function, and at that time, they in their own sweet way said that, when they saw it, that I was portraying them in the ads. That they've had these conversations, ki घूंघट पहनने से क्या फायदा, जाके बाहर शौच करना पड़ता है. So those kind of things. So I just feel that they expressed it to me in their own way, but most importantly, the change has happened, and that's what matters.
Yeah, because we had several panels before you, Vidya, and a lot of brand custodians are sitting over here, and this is exactly what we talked about. That you need, before making ads or films or any content, get in touch with the real people, understand their problems, and then try to replicate it on screen. So that way it will be a much better product. I'll take you back to the days of Parinita. You remember Parinita? That song? Yaar, wo ga do yaar. Piya bole, piyu bole.
Oh God.
Ek line.
Piyu bole, piya bole, kya ye bole, janu na.
Hi. So she's such an artist, multifaceted artist. after Parinita came in, directed by Pradeep Sarkar, that was this beautiful epitomization of Indian beauty on screen. And I remember I wanted to look like Parinita. My friends wanted to look like Parinita. For a month or so, we tried trying those beautiful colors and that lipstick. But there is something called a burden of beauty, Vidya. That's exactly what we've been talking about this entire day, that women have been burdened by certain things. One of them is beauty also, to look beautiful all the time. We remember you from Parinita, and we remember you from Tumhari Sulu and Sherni and Jalsa and your various films where you're just the regular person. And it's so easy being a regular person than being somebody who's like a visualization of a director. Ki meri naika aisi ho. Tell me about the days. Did you find that burden a burden too, like I'm imagining right now? And did you take time to like shake it off your shoulders?
No, I think, honestly, even I wanted to be Parinita off screen. There were people who had worked on me, had given me the best clothes, had done up my face and my hair, and the cinematographer had shot me beautifully. Of course, at Pradeep Sarkar. So it was, I almost feel like that's the most perfect I've looked, and I'm far from perfect. And I think the more I started embracing my imperfections, the happier I became. Yeah. So I actually personally believe that I look better now than I've ever looked. And I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but only because at that time, I wanted for people to tell me that I looked good. I wanted to look perfect. I wanted to be perfectly dressed. But today, I'm just being myself. And that freedom, I think, is most beautiful.
Most beautiful.
It's pointless because beauty, there is no... I've never understood when they said the standards of beauty. What? Who has decided what is the standard of beauty? Yeah. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. I think it is also a colonial hangover. You spoke about, the obsession with skin color and those small bodies. Those women wore corsets that didn't let them breathe, and I'm sure caused them a lot of health issues later in life. But we just blindly thought that, these women are beautiful and desirable, and that's what 75 years since independence, and we're still striving towards that.
True. For that 26 inches waist.
Yeah, it's pointless.
It's pointless.
Whereas you see women of yore and Indian women from all over the world, Romanesque paintings, you see women who are just so beautiful in their being. When the painter paints or a sculptor sculpts, he's of course going to use certain proportions and all that. Yeah. But I don't think that's something to strive for. That's exhausting, and that's impossible, and that's unnecessary pressure on women. We are here to do far more than just fit into small clothes.
That's true. Let's clap, yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We were discussing just that, the idea of beauty, and just the panel before this was talking about item numbers and how the lyrics also need to be rewritten. We can't call a girl chammak chhallo. We can't say, tu cheez badi hai mast mast. Matlab bolo tu mast hai, lekin cheez mat bolo. So that's how they had put it, ki cheez mat bolo. You can pay me a compliment. Okay, fine, I'm beautiful, but don't say kya cheez hai. Don't dehumanize me. I'm not an object. But the point is that after all, you're in the business of cinema. And you are not a producer. You're married to a producer though, but you're not a producer, you're an actor. And you must be having conversations with producers. Are producers ready to take that leap, Vidya? I was in conversation with a director who worked for a very big music company, who made a film for a very big music company, who have all the women who are known for item numbers with them. But he said, I don't want. He could easily, and he had a setting in his film where there was a perfect scene. It was a club scene, and he had the room to put an item number. He said, I don't want. That's a man trying to change the narrative. Popular mainstream movie, working with a production house that has all the resources. He said no. Now, every producer is not like that. When you talk to producers, you are in a meeting or in narration with so many of them. Are they changing at the same pace as you are changing or the women here are changing?
I think, You know, honestly, there are, I can't remember the last item number. So item numbers are passé to my mind. And, you know, obviously we can't rewrite what has already happened. So we can't do away with the cheese badi hai mast because it has happened like 30 years ago. But what we must appreciate is how far we've come. Today we have the awareness to know that it's not a compliment when you call someone, a woman, a cheese, or the woman should also know that it's not a compliment when you're being called a thing. I think so. I think we've come a long way, and I do think producers are also re-evaluating, choices. And I think Hindi film is going through a state of flux, the Hindi film industry, because you're seeing the South films that are really, they're celebrating a certain kind of machismo and masculinity and a certain kind of femininity that we may find problematic. And Hindi films are not necessarily doing that, most Hindi films, and therefore now suddenly people are feeling like, is that what audiences want? Is it why our films are not doing well? But I don't think that's, that really, that question or that argument holds any water. We've evolved to a certain stage, and we should make films that are true to where we are in our minds. I really don't think that producers are wanting item numbers. At least I'm talking about the known producers who are making, a certain kind of film.
So
I think most
change.
people,
There's
yes, most definitely.
Fine. Now we talk about the gender portrayal. We were just talking about ad films. Somebody said that in an ad film, if there is a woman in the background, she would not be sitting idle or lounging or watching TV. वो कुछ ना कुछ कर रही होगी. मतलब in your subconscious level, you know कि women can't sit idle. They can't do nothing. They have to do something all the time.
Yeah, which is why I think we go through so much guilt when we take time for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like on days when I take an afternoon nap, I feel like, what have I done?
Really?
I feel like I've been useless. I feel like I'm slowly telling myself that it's okay.
See?
I think it is. We all suffer from that.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to be doing something constantly.
Right.
You have to be useful.
Useful is the word. मतलब अगर कुछ ना किया तो useful नहीं हो रहे हैं. So the gender roles are still very defined. Like for example, earning the bread is still a man's job in a conventional mainstream film. Proposing to a girl or a person is a man's job. The girl can't say कि मुझसे शादी करोगे. Protecting a girl is a man's job. And so many gender stereotypes are still happening. I remember once you said on Coffee with Karan, he said, what would your biodata tagline like matrimonial biodata, something like that. And he said, I can make the best chutney and also lick it off your finger. So that was something very brave. And I just visualized, imagine if this girl was supposed to say this dialogue in a movie, how would that sound? It will be so revolutionary. It will be so different from what we've seen. Do you think a little bit of working here in these aspects, in the romantic scenes that we see is needed? The woman making the first move, women taking a first step or things like that.
I think there is a change, but everything is very relative, right? There's a change compared to, we've come ahead from where we were 5 years ago, but not to say that all films are going to do away with that kind of portrayal. But I think there are more number of films today that are looking at both men and women as equal stakeholders in a relationship, where you probably one doesn't need to propose to the other.
Yeah.
Where it's a joint partnership and and there can still be great romance and fiery sex and all of that. But I think there is a change. I just hope that, even the big films, the big ticket films, they reflect that change. Because I think it's the middling and the smaller films and the mid level films that are portraying that, but the big ticket films need to do that.
Need to do that.
Yeah.
So okay, let's do a little bit of sampling here. We have a lot of men friends here. Would you like to see a scene in a popular movie where the woman is making the first move? Yes, sure.
Ah, please, this gentleman deserves a round of applause. Oh, lovely.
Oh,
Sir, may I know your name? Bobby's sister. Oh, that's right. No wonder. How wonderful.
so let art imitate life. What just happened, we have to see that on screen.
Yeah.
So moving forward, Vidya, you did a film called Nutcut. Have you seen Nutcut? It's a beautiful short film, very powerful. I think it's on one of the OTT platforms. You did a Nutcut where you are the mother of a child and you teach your boy things that how he should treat women, how he should treat little girls. You do movies like Onsaw, movies like Mission Mangal. You don't judge or discriminate between your projects on the basis of scale. Not many actors do that. Talk about that.
You know, because for me, I've never judged a film by its scale or by who's producing it. For me, the story and the role that I'm being offered are most important.
But ऐसा कभी हुआ है किसी प्रोड्यूसर ने बोला हो कि पता है मैं जब आपके पास पहली बार आया था तो मैंने सोचा था ये कहाँ करेंगी and you said yes.
Yeah, that's happened. Even with Nutcut, it happened. The director reached out to me, and he was a first-time director, Shan Vyas, and he just wrote me an email. But his synopsis sounded really interesting, so I asked my manager to get in touch with him, and that's how I ended up doing the film. I thought, okay, it's a 3-day film, but this speaks about something, you know, it really makes the point beautifully about how women must be, how boys must be brought up. Yeah. And I just did it, you know, because I believed in it. That's it. So for me, all that has never mattered. Who I'm being cast opposite in the earlier years, you know, which star or which actor or which actor star, nothing. It's just, I work for my joy. You know, you can cast me opposite a tree and I'll still give it my all.
Okay, so we talk about gender portrayal. When I was growing up, 2 movies shook me as a person. One of them was Tejaswini. You remember, anybody remember Tejaswini?
Yes.
And Damini.
Vijay Shanti, right?
मतलब ऐसा लगा कि अब तो बड़े होके कॉप ही बनना है, या तो सोशल एक्टिविस्ट बनना है, या पुलिस ऑफिसर बनना है, या आईएएस ऑफिसर बनना है. बन कुछ नहीं पाए इन तीनों में से, लेकिन लाइफ बदल गई थी. इवन इन दामिनी, साड़ी पहने हुए वो औरत थी, उसने पूरे सिस्टम से टक्कर ले ली थी. Have there been movies such as those in your life that changed you in your childhood?
I wouldn't say childhood, but yes, in my teenage years, before my 12th standard history exam, you know, this is unbelievable. I actually ended up watching this film that changed my life. It was called Arth. Shabana Azmi, Smita Patil, Kulbhushan Kharbanda, directed by Mahesh Bhatt. And I saw it and it ruined me. You know, it ruined me for one because I became so obsessed with Shabana Azmi that a lot of times when I claimed to be studying, I'd be just rehearsing lines from the film, jo zubani yaad ho gayi thi with that one viewing. But more importantly, what it made me realize was that, oh, you know, this woman didn't choose the easy way. This woman had a voice. She had an opinion on how she wanted to live her life. She had agency. And that was so new. I said, oh, this is a hero. You know, and that film really made me look at female actors differently. Because we'd had strong women in the 60s and 70s and all that, but invariably that strength was, you know, those women largely borrowed their identity from the men in their lives. Whereas here was a woman who was walking away from that man
And
in
that
her
too
life
from a
and
better
saying,
looking man. He was a better looking man than her husband.
yeah.
Casting was done in a way
Right,
that we
right.
thought that she would go to him.
Charming and, more than, I think, better looking. He was so wonderful with her, and yet she wanted to stand on her own 2 feet. And I think that blew my mind. She wasn't scared to take the unbeaten path.
She said, मैं अपने साथ रहना चाहती हूँ. And then she chooses to be with that little girl.
Yeah.
You've worked with in television, Hum Panch. You've done several ads. You've done digital films. You've done theatrical films. You've done web series. This entire day we've been talking about who's better at gender portrayal. And we realize that advertising industry has been doing fairly well. Which medium do you think can be credited with the change makers badge?
I don't think any one medium. It's the content that's put out on the medium. So content can make a difference. Like I can cite ads that I've watched and I felt like, wow. I remember the Ariel ad.
Share the load.
Share the load. The first time it happened, I was like, it became a topic of conversation at dinners, and it was so fresh. There were so many other ads like that over the years, but there have been films that have impacted me equally, and there's been television. Short films. So I don't think really it has anything to do with the medium, but yes, films have the largest reach. So in that sense, if a film is able to, tell a story differently, I think it would probably have accelerated impact.
So, right now, इस महफिल में बहुत बड़े-बड़े advertising agencies के heads बैठे हैं. And, I was there in IAA Awards, Indian Advertising Association's Awards, and Ranveer walked in. And Ranveer ने खुल के stage का इस्तेमाल किया और बोला, I'm trustworthy, I'm a family man, I'm this, and here I am, I'm endorsing 41 brands. I'm available. Talk to me. So, if you were to talk to this crowd right now, what would you say?
I'd never say I'm available. That's wrong messaging. It's okay for a man to say that now, but I just think, I don't know. I'm already endorsing 17 brands, 41. I could do with 41. So anyone who's using Ranveer is welcome to come to me. He's going to hate me for this, but what the hell?
So let's talk about it briefly. तुम ज़्यादा मत बोल जाना, huh? For a long time we've been talking about the male gaze. रणवीर की पिक्चर्स को देख के फीमेल गेज क्या बोलती है?
मैं तो बहुत खुश हो गई. See, I have to be very honest and say that I'm not a big fan of nudes. But that's, his choice. He's done it. He's looking beautiful. And किसी के बाप का क्या जाता है?
Okay, stop.
No, I really think यार बहुत हो गया. अगर आपको अच्छा नहीं लगा तो मत देखो ना, आंखें बंद कर लो.
ठीक है.
किसी ने कहा
अब आगे बढ़ते हैं.
क्यों आप डर रहे हो? No, but I really think it's about. What is that?
बुरा मत देखो, बुरा मत बोलो, बुरा मत सुनो.
बुरा लगा, आंखें बंद कर लो.
Ooh la la, right? So now, this was a beautiful conversation. Now we are moving to the next part of the conversation. We have 2 little children. Because we are talking about gender portrayal, we also want to know, not just brand custodians, not just young people, not just elderly people, but what do children have to say about gender portrayal? Because after all, it's their life that gets impacted by what they see on their phones, on the TV, and on the big screen. So we have 2 children, Pari and Deepak. आप please stage पे आ जाइए बच्चों. Come. So Pari and Deepak have been associated with several NGOs. Hi, Deepak. Say hello to Vidya. Come Pari. आप दोनों वहाँ बैठ जाइए. Sit. परी और दीपक, आपने विद्या मैम की फिल्में देखी हैं? कौन सी नाम बताइए कुछ जो आपको पता है।
हमने देखी नहीं है। एक नाम सुना था, फूलन देवी, नहीं उनका नाम शकुंतला देवी।
शकुंतला देवी।
वो भी कोई कम फूलन देवी नहीं थी वैसे। या
अच्छा।
पर शकुंतला देवी देखना जरूर। हाँ
हाँ।
तो ये बताओ बच्चों कि आप एड फिल्म्स देखते होंगे ना, टेलीविजन होगा घर पे, तो टेलीविजन पे एड फिल्म्स आती होंगी। परी, आप पहले बताइए बेटा कि जब आप एड फिल्म्स देखती हैं तो उसमें कौन सी एड फिल्म ऐसी है जिसे देखकर आपको लगा हो कि ये मुझे बहुत पसंद आई, या फिर ये मुझे बहुत बुरी लगी, या फिर इसमें मैं कुछ चेंज करना चाहती हूँ, वो ऐसी कौन सी एड फिल्म है?
Okay, so first I will introduce myself. Hello, my name is Pari. I'm in standard 8. I'm 13 years old and I'm from Amchagar NGO and also part of 9 is Mine team. So thank you for your question, but in ads they show fake things. Example, during our periods we have stomach pain, we are moody, we cry. But in ads they show girls are wearing white frock, short clothes, going to office, enjoying their life. But this is not the truth. So I want the advertisement industry to show the reality to the people.
थैंक यू बेटा, थैंक यू। ये बात बोलने के लिए थैंक यू। दीपक, आप बताइए बेटा कि आपने कौन सी ऐसी एड फिल्म है जो आपको या तो बहुत पसंद है या बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है, या किसी एड फिल्म ने आपको बहुत बदल दिया हो, ऐसी कौन सी एड फिल्म है?
मेरे फेवरेट एड्स हैं जिसमें क्रिएटिविटी हो और जिसमें हम लोग कुछ सीख पाते हो और बच्चे खेल रहे हो, बच्चों के फेस पर स्माइल है, वो मेरे फेवरेट एड्स हैं। और मेरे कुछ फेवरेट एड्स नहीं है जिसमें भेदभाव हो, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन हो, वो मेरे फेवरेट एड्स नहीं है। मैंने एक एड्स देखा था, उसमें था कि वो लड़का और लड़की का रेस चालू था, तो वो लड़का हार जाता है लड़की से, तो उसके डैडी बोलते कि तुम लड़की से हार गए, पर ऐसा क्यों बोलना कि लड़की से हार गए, लड़की भी जीत सकती है।
वेरी नाइस, वेरी नाइस। आपके घर में जैसे फैमिली वगैरह टीवी देखते होंगे, तो कोई एक ऐसा ऐड है जिसने आपकी फैमिली के या आपके आसपास के लोगों के सोचने का तरीका बदल दिया हो?
हाँ, हम लोग जो एड्स देखते हैं उससे हम लोग इन्फ्लुएंस होते हैं। और मेरे सोसाइटी में एक एड्स देखे, मतलब हम लोग देखे थे, उससे मेरे सोसाइटी में कुछ लोग इन्फ्लुएंस हुए थे। उसमें था कि वो लड़की को घर पे ही काम कराना है और ये सब, तो उनने एक ऐड देखा जिसमें एकदम इक्वल है दोनों, और लास्ट में बताएगा कि लड़की और लड़का एकदम इक्वल है, तो उससे।
वेरी नाइस, लड़का लड़की इक्वल है, वेरी नाइस। पर ये आप बताइए बेटा, कोई ऐसी फिल्म जो जिसने आपको बदला हो, या कुछ ऐसा जो भूल नहीं पा रही हो आप, ऐसी एड फिल्म?
I like Suryavanshi, but in that they did not show girls.
Oh, you talking about the film Suryavanshi?
Yes.
So these are the movies that have affected you. So Suryavanshi affected you a lot.
Yes.
क्यों?
Because I want to join police officer.
अरे वाह,
तेजस्विनी, हाँ? लेकिन आपको उसमें क्या बात नहीं पसंद आई कि कोई फीमेल नहीं,
लड़की नहीं थी?
Why girls cannot do these all things?
Why girls? But we have seen a lot of ad films where women police officers are shown, isn't it? No? Yes? Yes, na? Right. So ad films जो दिखाते हैं, आप उससे खुश हैं? मतलब आपको लगता है कि अच्छा है, मैं एक दिन बड़े होके एड फिल्म्स भी ज्वाइन कर सकता हूँ? आप तो पुलिस ऑफिसर बनना चाहती हैं, आपको एड फिल्म्स या फिल्म्स ज्वाइन करने का शौक है बेटा?
हाँ।
अच्छा,
क्या करोगे?
एड्स बनाऊंगा।
लिखोगे या
हाँ,
शूट करोगे?
यूनिक चीज़ दिखाऊंगा, जैसे कुछ अलग और कुछ सही बताना।
You want to change the world?
Yes.
आपको ऐसा लगता है कि आप बड़े होंगे तो इस दुनिया में कुछ नया चेंज लाना चाहेंगे?
Yes.
जो अभी आप देख रहे हैं उसको चेंज करना चाहेंगे? क्या क्या चीजें चेंज करना चाहेंगे?
कि हम लोग वो भेदभाव ना करें और सब एक इक्वल रहे।
आपकी बहन है?
हाँ।
बड़ी या छोटी?
बड़ी है।
और आप चाहते हैं कि आपके घर में आई एम श्योर भेदभाव नहीं होता आप दोनों के बीच, इसीलिए आप कह रहे हैं कि एड फिल्म्स में भी आप वो भेदभाव नहीं देखना चाहते,
हाँ।
है ना?
Wonderful. So it's a very important point that we are trying to make here. Thank you UNICEF for getting these children along, and very important because हम बनाते वक्त भूल जाते हैं, फिल्म्स बनाते हुए सारे कंटेंट बनाते हुए भूल जाते हैं कि घर में कहीं कोने में एक बच्चा भी बैठा हुआ है जो इन सारी एड फिल्म्स को देख रहा है और वो बड़े होके इनको मैनिफेस्ट कर सकता है, वैसा बन सकता है जैसा हम दिखा रहे हैं. बिकॉज आई रिमेंबर व्हेन आई वाज ग्रोइंग अप, विद्या, I don't know if I should say this, but my mother sometimes would keep only 3 plates for me, my sister and my dad. So for a long time I thought कि वो हमारी प्लेट से खा लेंगी. You know, so बचपन में जो आपने चीजें देख ली होती हैं उसका इतना लंबे समय तक उसका असर रहता है, till a time comes where somebody very vehemently breaks those mental blocks. It just stays in your mind.
Yeah, but it's amazing we are having these conversations, right? Because I started my career in advertising. Yeah. I've been part of ads, probably unknowingly perpetuated these stereotypes. And I didn't even think, I thought, oh, this was giving me visibility to go on to become an actor in films. I didn't even think of, oh. But now that I'm a brand ambassador, I'm more conscious of it and trying to at least, you know, with the ad agency, and you know we have fantastic creative people in this business, try and convey the message in a more gender positive, through gender positive messaging. It doesn't always come through, it doesn't always happen because there are various levels that this operates at, but I think as long as the intention is there, we'll keep at it, you know, we will consistently persist.
Absolutely. So in MBA there is a term called constant hammering. I guess we have to constantly hammer this fact that no gender bias, no gender discrimination and things like that. And as Mahatma Gandhi said, very gently you can change the world and be the change that you wish to see in the world. Thank you for an amazing conversation. We had a lovely conversation. Let's celebrate it with Tumhari Sulu laughter.
It's like it doesn't.
Whenever I meet her, Vidya, wo wali hasi chahiye. Let's do that.
Oh no. But no, I just want to thank UNICEF for this lovely conversation. And I'm most excited about sharing stage with Pari and Deepak. Good luck to both of you. अच्छे से पढ़ाई करना, पुलिस अफसर बनना और आप ad films बनाना. मुझे cast karna. I'll try from. He didn't meet him. Ranveer didn't meet him. So I have an advantage over him. No, but it's been fantastic. Thank you, and more power to the change maker in all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Atika. Always so easy to talk to you.